Hey everyone, how's it going? Octopus here and welcome back to evercrisis. I'm going to be talking about the tower, specifically the vouchers. So we have 100 floors, we're getting ultimate tokens, and we're also getting 2 choices of each weapon element, including healing. And I want to go over this in a way of just talking about every weapon in every situation, given that you're free to play, pay to play, you're waiting, not waiting. I know most of you guys are probably sitting there like, I already bought everything I wanted. Good. That's what you guys should do. Husbandos, waifus, play the way you want to play, right? This is just advice that if you are on the edge and you're like, which one do I want to go in for? I'm going to give you a little bit of tips and tricks over here to be like, hey, this is really good because of this, or this you can skip because of so and so, right? In the end, though, have fun with the game. It's yours. Do what you want, right? If you like that character, go for that character full in. Don't regret it. So let's jump in and let's talk about it. There's a couple things I do want to point out is that if you are looking at these and you're saying to yourself, oh, I want to OB10 a weapon, I personally would hold off on that. And the reason being is because we have those free pulls that are still every day. And we also have more limited banners coming out. So as you're polling, you could put it on a wish list and get it. You have tickets. Right? I'm still holding off on tickets until Vincent weapon gets updated because I want his weapon that just came out and I gotta wait till they update into the pool. But again, daily free pulls are here. Wait till that's all done. This tower thing is here for another 40 days. So you have 40 days to use this for battle rankings, guild rankings, critical threats, anything you need, right? You have 2 choices of each element. So hold off unless you really know what you want. And then of course, if you are someone who saved up a little bit, we also have weapon vouchers and I've got one of them here too. So I can mix and match the 2 vouchers from there and then grab the 3rd copy from here and I'm halfway to OB6. So this is really good that there's 40 days and we don't have to rush this. So kind of save if you have to. And back to the idea of OB9, if the weapon is already OB9, then don't try to OB10 it because it's kind of a waste. As you're polling, as you're doing tickets, or the daily quests where you can choose what you want to do. So under battle, solo, you know how there's 2 days out of the week where there's another quest here instead of just Gil. They let you choose weapon parts. You can slowly get to OB10 as well. So the advice is that if you are thinking about OB10ing, that's something you should consider. That might be a waste because then you get OB10 +1, +2, and then it does nothing. +1 in a weapon is really useless. So, like for instance, anything here that's close to OB9 or even OB8, you can go to OB9 without thinking about it. Like Fairy Tale, I'm not going to go to OB10, right? Firestorm, I'm not going to go OB10 because again, I have all these options of these tickets and these free pulls that it might just show up and now I just wasted a guaranteed choice at something that's lower. My best advice is OB5. If it's something at OB5 and you know OB6 is going to make it go from low to high, like Twinkling Star here I think is a good example. Mine does magic attack is increased mid to mid on a single enemy. And then it says physical defense is decreased mid to mid. But if I OB6 this, it goes mid to high, mid to high. So something like that seems more worth it than trying to go for something that's OB10. OB10 is a big increase in damage though. Not crazy, but it definitely is. But when it comes to like support, I say focus more on support. So assault gun, all allies, mid physical defense up versus 1 cast, high defense up, all allies. And Barrett's a really good healer with his micro laser. So look at stuff like that. That's utility. That gives you giant buffs, debuffs on the enemy. Solid bazooka goes to magic attack is decreased high, right? I'm not saying that choose those specifically, but definitely look into that. Like, do I want to OB10 something and then kind of get screwed over? Where OB6ing something is okay because if you get an extra copy, now you go OB7, OB8, and you're using the R abilities to increase. So it's never bad to go for like Barrett's solid bazooka, OB5 to OB6, even though it's not a choice. Because now you can OB7, but OB10 past that point it becomes a waste. So with those little bit of rules here and there, husbando, waifus first, be careful of OB9ing to OB10ing because of draws and free stuff and all that. Here is what I think about every weapon that's under this tower. So we're going to start off with healing, and healing is pretty straightforward to tell you the truth. Cloud's healing sword is not really an option. Our ability wise, eventually we're going to want that boosts earth resist and your healer being able to survive attacks while also have healing is going to come into clutch and play in a lot of more quests, because having earth resist, fire resist, thunder resist, water resist, you guys notice that's better than stacking HP and better than stacking magic defense or physical defense. This stuff really helps. So if you can main hand these weapons on your healers, it's good. And of course there's a healing Cloud, healing Tifa, and then Aerith as well. She's got the boost earth resist with healing Fairy Tail. So it's not bad options when you're trying to go for our abilities. These two you can kind of stay away from. You don't really need single target healing that much. Red 13 has too good of a kit to just throw healing on him. Even though he can heal and put regen and all that, out of all these, it's pretty straightforward. Centipede, even if you don't use Matt, Centipede's R abilities are incredible. I use this on my healer all the time. Boost heal and buff duration. You really can't beat this. And if you do use this on Matt for some reason down the future, if you don't play him, but you have to, physical defense, all allies, mid to high while casting a heal. Very, very, very good weapon. That is actually probably choice number one. Tifa can heal. Fairy Tail, obviously. Aerith will have those moments. It's a little bit more awkward when you're trying to balance it with a Monster Hunter weapon because it has an all cure. But if you need heavy heals, Fairy Tail is a pretty good choice. But my number one choice is Centipede. This section is literally who's your healer? Do you use them? Try to upgrade them. But really, out of these five, I wouldn't touch them unless you want to get more copies of Fairy Tail. Or Tifa is your main healer still, but she does way better as a DPS. But Centipede is good for Matt and any healer offhand. Really, really good. So, next up is Weapon Voucher, Fire. So this one is a pretty tough one, to tell you the truth. Every single one of these are okay to go for. High fire potency, some utility with fire potency. Yuffie's AoE fire with fire damage increase while she's casting it. So every time she does go for this, she gets stronger and stronger and stronger. It starts at low and it goes to high, right? At OB6 is when you get to go to high. But on top of that, great R abilities for her if she's doing the whole fire setup. But if you really have that choice that you're new to the game or you don't have any fire, which one should you go for? Personally, I would say Shell Knuckles, because 940 fire damage to a single enemy, and then if your HP is 70% or more, it does 1.2. Our abilities are decent, not crazy, but still good enough because you can stack a lot of weapons in the back. This thing is solid if you want to go fire Tifa, right? Really, really good. That's going for magic. Aerith is also one of the really good ones because it's an AoE into single target, but the R abilities are more survivability HP into boost fire, and that's why I favored this one for the magic setup instead, because it's just that much stronger. The only difference between Aerith and Tifa is that if you don't have Tifa's Fire Arcanum, it kind of still really good. You don't need the Fire Arcanum, but it does help. Where Aerith, you can go to exchange right now if you haven't used your voucher for the first anniversary. Aerith does have her Bunny Fire costume, which is an Arcanum and boosts magic ability up, where Tifa doesn't have her fire costume here. So that's like, okay, I have the weapon, but I don't got the bonus to go along with it. So you might want to keep that in mind as you're looking at the fire stuff. Now, when it comes to Cloud, Cloud's costume is there. Same thing with Radiant Edge and Sephiroth's costume, but that is a mastery versus actual Arcanum. And I would say if you're going to go for the physical route, 850% potency with Arcanum costume is very, very solid. Great R abilities on this. This one has better R abilities because 62 physical attack is a very good offhand weapon. You pull two of these on any character and they don't have to have a physical attack weapon. This weapon actually helps my Red 13 who lacks physical attack, but he's got that Hellhound build. So I'm personally trying to get more Radiant Edges. But if I wanted to and I needed fire, full fire DPS, I'd probably go for something on the edge of Cloud Sky Splitter and then go grab his costume. Now when it comes to utility, Marine Shooter is really good too, because all enemies physical attack is decreased mid to high, and then you also reduce fire resist. So this is a really good option and very unique R abilities, right? So if you're already at the place where you've upgraded the Sky Splitter, Radiant Edge, right, you're using them with Arcanum, and you want a character to help support that, starting building up Marine Shooter is not a bad idea at all. So in the fireplace, personally for me, I'm going to go off of my Red 13's build and try to get his R ability weapons up. Or again, I'm waiting. If the next guild battle wants fire and I don't have physical fire, I'm going to go grab Cloud's costume, grab his Sky Splitter, and make sure my guild makes a high top 100, top 10, and just go from there, right? That's my choice when it comes to this, because really, I don't have a fire character. So yeah, my first choice should be grabbing this, but I also don't have a wind character, so on and so on. But you can't go wrong with any of these. Some shine more than others. If you have the Arcanums, Shell Knuckles should be getting close to OB10. If you want the utility, either these two, and if you want raw damage, it's definitely 1, 2, and 3 here. Obviously, this can do damage, but it's more of a support because physical defense is increased. It's a good weapon. You just got to make sure you also have costume to go along with it to help more. You don't need to. Again, costumes aren't necessary when it comes to utility on weapons. Just having the character doing their own DPS and then supporting your main DPS is really good. So, when it comes to Ice one is honestly on you. This is pretty straightforward. The strongest choices when it comes to here is Spiral Shuriken has a high potency, but Yuffie doesn't have an Ice Arcanum, so you're kind of just left there with the R ability weapon until she does get an Ice Arcanum. So as of now, I wouldn't really go on that route. The Mastery Snowflake combo was really good when it came out. Now that we see what we have, and a lot of other weapons do a lot of this already, the main thing here is the R ability. 62 R ability with Ice potency. Anything that has 62 for the main stat of physical or magic attack up is a very strong sub weapon for a lot of characters. So like Sephiroth could really benefit from this. Not as much because he does use the edge wings in the front, but it does finish it off. But so does other weapons. But again, half ability, 31, really good. As for the character itself and grabbing the costume, you can skip that one if you are okay with that. I almost clicked it. Woo! Then when it comes to Tifa's, Tifa has 800% physical ice with good R abilities, and she has her costume if you want to go for that. Really good option. Same thing with Sephiroth. If you want the magic route, it's the equivalent of Tifa's physical. Same R abilities, but it's more of a magic build. They're still pretty good, but they're not as updated as other ones. But out of these choices, that is 2 solid DPS. Zack, you also have his choice of his costume, I believe. Let me double check that. Yes, you do. You do have the choice of his costume. So if you guys want to go for his costume along with his weapon, not a bad one either. It doesn't have a lot of damage, but it does reduce ice resist, and it's got a 62 physical R ability. Again, these are very, very strong. So good option there. And then Bald Eagle's been there since the OG days. Has ice resist down, high potency, 62. So these 2 weapons alone on a physical build in the back will clean up very, very well. Right? But you don't need both of them when it comes to ice physical, because you're most likely putting this in the main hand for that 46 and you just need one of them. So when it comes to this is one of those that it's up to you. I would prioritize anything that you have an Arcanum for. And if you don't and you want something with utility to help you in the back, then obviously you go for like Lucia's if she's on your team. But overall, you can't really go wrong with this. I say Sephiroth, Tifa, Zack is top 3 choices when it comes to that utility / damage, and then Lucia into Snowflake into Spiral Shuriken. Next up is the Thunder one, or Lightning. I would personally, if it wasn't our abilities, utility wise, Red 13, Wind Slash if you need that Thunder resist down. If you're someone who uses Barret, and you can see I already bought Barret's here, you can get one of these as well. I already bought 1 copy. There's only 1, so I had to make a choice of another one. But Barret's is definitely number 1 for many, many reasons. Not only does he have AoE physical magic attack down, the R abilities are so good on this, and it's on a lot of my magic builds. Having that 52 here at 46 cleans up so many characters. Ice Sephiroth, Earth Vincent, right? Anything that is magic is most likely using the Electro Cannon. And then if you're using Bear as a healer and you can lower the enemy's attack, he's using it himself. This is priority number 1 in my opinion. And then you go from there of what you want. Now, when you want damage, Murasame Cloud still works, but you need his costume. It's part of the exchange. Totally fine. Crazy R abilities is the Alloy Sword. Having lightning potency at 52 is really nice with magic boost. Magic boost isn't high, but most likely a character will be main-handing a weapon with 46 magic attack already. That cleans it up, right? Because it's going to give you 15 points, giving you that extra, 9 that you need? Well, more than 9. And then you get 26 points, which is 40% right off the bat just for 1 weapon. Very, very good R abilities. But lightning's always been in that place where there's not enough characters with lightning. So it's like, okay, do I start building one? Do I not? If you're close to upgrading Murasame Cloud, I'd still consider going for the utility, right? Especially Red 13, because he's using a lot of the harder content. Now, Thunderbird is not a bad choice either, because it has that boost magic 62 with lightning. So if it's the opposite you need, that's a great R ability. And having magic defense mid to high is not bad either, while still doing lightning damage. But you have to be a Lucia main. So my choices: number 1, Barret; number 2, Yuffie or Red 13. And then if you want the DPS, go for Murasame. Our ability are these two. Next up, we got Water. Water is an interesting one. So when it comes to Water, my number 1 recommendation, if you have the Anniversary Water Glen, this weapon, Slay the Day, is incredible at OB6, right? So if you do have it, Slay the Day should be your option. If it's not and you don't have the Anniversary costume, right, then don't go for Slay the Day. Our abilities on it, though, are pretty good, just not as good as other things, right? That's their average. It's more if you already have Glen set up, go for it. Maritime Sword, again, average R abilities, but he's a Mastery, not an Arcanum or any Arcanum mixed with good other R abilities on his costume. Even though you can get the costume, I don't recommend Masteries. Not a bad sword, just not a costume to go along with it. It still works if you already have it. I'm not bashing you guys for having it. Tifa, on the other hand, she is in the gear voucher where you can get her water setup, her Arcanum, and her gloves are very, very good. For 4 ATB, 850 water potency, and you buff yourself, increase low to high. So she's self-sustaining DPS with great R abilities there. Water could be a little higher, but there's a reason they did that, because of increasing your magic attack as you go. Once we get characters with AoE magic buffs, right, Aerith or someone else does high AoE magic buffs for everyone, that becomes kind of useless, but this still stands strong at 850. So still a very solid choice to pick up. And then you've got Tempest, which is on the utility side, and the utility plus damage, right? 700% damage of water while also lowering water resist. So that's a great combo. You can see Sephiroth has that whole like fire resist down with the little damage and a mastery, right? So it's not a bad pick if you have his costume, but really priority here is Tifa, Slay the Day, and then everything else is for our abilities. Kate Sith's weapon over here at OB6 is water resist as well. So if Kate Sith's on your party, good choice. Same R abilities as everything else, 4639. And then Black Whisker is actually one of the interesting ones, because at OB10 and OB6, they both do two different things. You can only get high at OB10 for water resist down in 2 cast. But if you're at OB6, it's mid for everything no matter what, but it gives you 2, physical defense and water resist, while also doing non-physical. Doesn't really do much damage, but the R abilities are incredible. So if you do need physical attack R abilities for water setups, this is like one of the good ones to put in the backhand. So end of the day, Tifa priority number 1, then Slay the Day. If you already have the mastery of Cloud for water, then try to OB10 his weapon or get close to it. Remember, OB9 is fine, and then just do weapon vouchers or get lucky. And then if you want the utility, you got these two guys here. Same thing with Zack, it's a utility, but it's more of his R ability. It's really, really good. Now the wind one, pick what you want. Everything here is incredible. I obviously prioritize utility because damage is great and you do need the DPS race. But again, once you're getting close to OB9ing, OB10ing, you don't want to finish it off, but you do want to OB6 certain weapons. So pure damage, physical wind, and all these costumes are available. Same thing with magic wind, 800%. Aerith has a little bit less than everyone else because she has boost HP there, which HP isn't as neat as it was before, but it definitely will come in handy in certain situations, especially when battle rankings force you to have more HP because one of the debuffs and the battle effects. But strong wind magic, strong physical, right? Wind DPS, 850 potency, 800 potency. Yuffie, in my opinion, is the better DPS because of the rest of her kit compared to Sephiroth. But Sephiroth has Mastery, Yuffie has Arcanum, and in my opinion, I'd go for Yuffie because if you do build a strong Yuffie, she can do a lot of things. She's just getting better and better and better. So she got Wind Arcanum, 35%, Boost physical, not the greatest, but then again, when you compare it to like Sephiroth's, he's got a mastery, which is only 20% boost, and an HP. So she's kind of winning in that category. So if you want to start a win character, it would definitely be Yuffie, because the rest of her kick, the Arctic Star and everything, great. But when it comes to utility, my number one picks are Floral Wand, Silver Collar, and Canyon Collar. Silver Collar is probably going to be the one I'm going to do. It's got Diamond Sigil. It only costs 3 ATB. It lowers Wind Resist, Water Resist, and again, incredible R abilities for my healers. This is priority number one for my account because I use Red 13 a lot, and I can use that as a backhand for a lot of my healers. Then Floral Wand, you guys seen during those win trials, the guild battles. This thing was incredible. At OB6, mid to high, and then you've got, mid to mid, and the other one is high in one cast for wind resist down. If you don't have it OB6, it's just low, right? OB6 in this gets a high, so get this thing to OB6 because it's super powerful. Double debuff, usually on your healer, or for her DPS magic, works really, really well because it could be on a physical and a magical, and those R abilities is 62, 39. Crazy R abilities, crazy utility, 3 ATB, very powerful weapon, right? Very powerful weapon, great R abilities. And then Canyon Collar is a very good choice too. Crazy R abilities, 62, 39, used for the wind air DPS. And then it's got wind damage all enemies with magic defenses increased mid to high. So in 2 casts, right? Great magic attack. So I would say definitely go for the utility if you don't have these OB6 yet. Get them to OB6 because they're all going to help you at some point. If you want to get to DPS, Yuffie, then Dark Heavens for physical, or go the Magic Root and go Aerith. So, actually, I would definitely do Yuffie or Aerith when it comes to win DPS, either physical or magical, because again, that's mastery. Now, the last one is Earth, and Earth is like, it's in a funny place for me. To tell you the honest truth, I have Earth Vincent, so this is a no-brainer. It's going to be Chiron. That is straight up. And then the other option here is Razor Ring, because that's used as a sub-weapon for my build because this thing gives 52 Earth potency, and it makes that perfect Vincent build for Earth. Lucia, if you already have her costume or you're going to do exchange voucher, very good choice as well. Just not as good as Vincent or whatever else is coming in the future, but still a very strong Earth one. And then when it comes to Yuffie, I believe Yuffie's is here as well too, right guys? So there's the Holiday Coat, which is an Arcanum and a boost magic. Not a huge fan of the boost magic, but it's better than nothing. And then when it comes to Yuffie doesn't have the costume there, so you have to have the costume when it comes to exchanging that, or you're just grabbing it for the R abilities. But the R abilities are pretty straightforward, 46, 39. Great potency, but if you don't have the costume, you're just relying on the potency. And it's not bad either way. Like, that potency without an Arcanum or Mastery will still do good damage, just not as good as a Mastery or an Arcanum on top of it. Everything else is R ability wise is just increasing those builds, right? Personally on my Vincent build, I don't do Jiggy Fam. I don't do Wiser Staff. It's either Razor Ring or Holiday Revolver, but Revolver's only there because I have it higher than Razor Ring. My priority is doing that. So I want the Razor Ring, not for Yuffie, but for Vincent. So if you already have her set up for Earth, then you go for Yuffie's. If you have Vincent's and you don't have this OB10 yet, go for that, or OB6 especially. Get that to OB6 for the high Earth resist down. Very, very worth it. And then after that, I'm going to be getting Razor Ring, yeah, because it is part of my build and will be part of other Earth builds for Magic as well. So very easy choices here, a little bit hard, but overall, that's my thoughts of the tower. In the end, go for what you want, but hold out. Like the current event right now in the battle ranking, I didn't pull for any Bahamut gear. I'm at rank 22, and there's only 7 hours left, so I'm making guaranteed top 150. To me, it's not worth doing guaranteed weapons to be a higher ranking in the battle ranking for RNG rewards. This could be all purples, no 5-star weapons. This could be all 3-star material or 4-star material with bad stats, right? None of this guarantees good rewards. This is just RNG. So throwing away a bunch of resources just to get 20 gacha tickets, not worth it. I would use it for your guild battles, help your guild out for the critical threats, get that cool emblem of whatever one's coming out, or whatever you want to pass in the game. Don't do it for permanent content. When it comes to these choices, like summon quests don't go away. They're always there. And eventually you will get strong enough to beat these. As a free-to-play player, I have beaten everything except for Ramu, because I don't have a water setup. And the only one I have to clear is EX2, and I don't have a water setup. So there's just waiting, right? That's up to you guys what you want. For me personally, that's all my kind of ideas, thought process, and how I go about playing this game when it comes to making choices like this. It's very hard, but you know your account better than anyone else. Go for what you want. And when it comes to just like the advice of the community, comment section down below, because again, this is my opinion with obviously math, but again, it's an opinion. So everyone has a different one, and you might resonate better with someone else. So if you ever want to put something down below, you're more than welcome to. I love that the community comes together and helps everyone and sees a different way of looking at things. Besides all that, thank you so much for watching. Keep on smiling, and I'll smell you later.